Gary Flaherty is right here behind me. He is the chair of the Texas Gulf Coast Regional VOAD. They're the Volunteer Organizations in Disaster. They are going to help us pass on today's biggest message, and that's really what we need help sharing with the community. I'm also here with Chief Christensen, another very important message on generator safety, and Centerpoint will be here. Here is Paul Locke with Centerpoint, who will be answering any questions. We are in a moment of tragedy, of course, all of us as a community, broadly speaking, because of this disaster. But I do want to acknowledge a particular tragedy that took place yesterday, the night before, and it is the senseless murder of Deputy Fernando Esqueda. So you guys will see behind me that law enforcement leaders' shields are covered up. Flags in Harris County flew half-mast yesterday, and that is because Deputy Esqueda was ambushed and murdered on Thursday morning as he was working overtime for the rest of us to have that added law enforcement present and deter criminal activity as the recovery continues. And so let's begin with a moment of silence for Deputy Fernando Esqueda, for his mother, his father, and for his sister, who is also part of the police force. Thank you. And Sheriff Gonzalez did announce last night that they have charged a suspect with capital murder in his death. The family obviously are going through a very difficult time, and so let me just say here, we send you all the support, all the love, and I do ask the residents of Harris County to just send a prayer for them, and we'll continue to support that family. So let me start with just a rough update here. And we're all got the first responders working 12-hour shifts. You see us running in and out on our phone because we're working around the clock to try to get the resources that people need. But the need is enormous. It's very hot. It's very humid. People are starting to feel it. A few days ago, tensions continue to run very high, worse every day. The worst hit households have one or multiple trees sitting on their homes with part of the trees inside their rooms, inside their bedrooms, inside their living rooms. They feel lucky to have escaped death, but they're suffering very much with what's going on right now. Many of them have had water damage because of the holes in their homes. They don't have tarp yet over their homes. They don't have help yet pulling those trees off of the homes. Many others have branches and debris all over the yard, all over the home. Everyone without power, needless to say, is exhausted and frustrated by the heat. Many times, and I've seen this myself, we've all seen this in images, it's the elderly, it's widows, it's families with young children, you name it, who are in these conditions. So these folks need water, they need ice, and they really need help cleaning the debris off their yards and the trees off their homes. There are countless of families with that type of need all over Harris County. And so we're helping with the water, we're helping with the ice. Centerpoint is working on the power restoration with 12,000 linemen here, but you can help us with the debris removal and with the removal of those downed trees that are cutting through people's homes this very moment, because the truth of the matter is our resources for being able to, the sawyering of those trees, pulling them off, taking them out, we just simply don't have enough volunteers and enough trained people right now to be able to do that to just the number and the breadth of the impact. So let me give, and I'll share with you guys in a moment, and Gary will share with you guys the best way to help us. And I know the folks that have had power have a little bit of survivor's guilt. The weekend's coming up. This is the time we absolutely need you to help us with that debris and with that recovery. So as of 6 a.m. this morning, there are 700,000 customers without power in Harris County and 900 5,000 out system-wide. However, CenterPoint expects to have 80% of customers back on by the end of Sunday and by Monday. So they're working extremely fast. We've all seen the crews out there. Let me take a moment here to mention we have heard reports of somebody pulling a gun on a group of linemen, somebody shooting pellets at the truck. So I know, people are angry at the situation, and the heat just by nature makes us all more frustrated and the tempers run higher, but these folks are here just to help us, and they're working very hard for us and very quickly for us, these linemen. So please, do not take it out on them. Quite the contrary, they deserve our gratitude. The rain is a little bit of a limiting factor in terms of the speed. Obviously, the workers have to stop if there's lightning, but they can work in certain circumstances. So they're going to work when it's safe to work, and when it's not, they just have to stop. So you can still go online and check the CenterPoint restoration map, which is also on readyharris.org. If you go to Ready Harris, there are some tiles. They're quite large, and they're sliding. It's a slideshow, and you'll see all the major resources there, including the restoration map, where you can see in your neighborhood, on your street, as close as it can be known, whether the power is being worked on, whether it's out, or whether it's back. So other work that we're doing here. We have 61 cooling centers open right now throughout the county, the city of Houston, our various cities. So if somebody needs a cool place to be, check readyharris.org. Also right there on the top in those big tiles, you'll find out where the cooling centers are, but that'll be a nice respite. Our engineering department, you will appreciate to know, is already picking up debris. As you can imagine, the amount of debris is enormous. So it does, no matter how quickly they go, it does take some time. These debris pickup crews are going to make multiple passes because we know that people are just now going to be able to take out their debris who haven't been able to. There is rain, as you know, rain coming, more rain coming. So if you see your drains are blocked by debris, this is the time to get that debris off of the drain, and in preparation for these rains to come down. With the debris blocking the rain, it's possible that there could be a little bit of street flooding. Nothing to worry about, okay? But you can help us by cleaning those drains. We have 11 points of distribution throughout the county, including our cities, for food, for water, and for ice. So it's a drive-through system where you can receive those needs. We have set up the distribution centers close to the most ad-need community. So it's all data-driven and should be able to be accessed by anybody who needs to. But if somebody needs transportation there, again, you can call 211, or if you're not able to get there with a vehicle, that's how you can receive support. We continue to work with the state, we continue to work with our cities and with precinct commissioners to get supplies out into the community as quickly as possible. I know it's not fast enough. We've got 4.7 million residents, many of whom were impacted, and so we're doing everything as efficiently and as quickly as we can. The state has sent us dozens and dozens of semi-trucks worth of aid. They're all staged at NRG. If you go by NRG right now, you see our medical transition center to support our hospitals, and then you see trucks after trucks, and if you don't see them, it's because they're out somewhere grabbing more supplies. So we're distributing that. We get it for the region. We then send it to the various counties, or Harris County, and each county is sharing it then with municipalities, with county commissioners, and going to the distribution centers. However, ice has been especially hard to get, and folks who are going through this are aware of that. So we're looking at every option. We have requested 25 trucks from the state on Monday. They've yet to arrive, but I am in touch with Chief Kidd of the Texas Department of Emergency Management, and he is working all the channels he can. We requested another 25, knowing what the need is. Obviously, the 25 from Monday, we've been told they're en route. So we did, we're working with our private sector partners. So HEB donated to us 3 trucks of ice, about 15,000 bags of ice that are actively getting out into the neediest communities right now. And I'm in touch with neighboring counties that were not impacted to see if there's any way that we can get that in here, to see if we can produce it. These are questions we've been running down, but obviously the various levels of priority. We have met, this is another piece of good news, we have met the threshold for direct financial assistance from the federal government. That doesn't mean that we have it coming yet, because the federal government needs to review our data. So folks have been traveling the county, the affected areas, to be able to itemize the damage, particularly where there's major damage, where there's destruction of property, and that has allowed us to go submit to the federal government now our request for direct financial assistance. What that would mean is that FEMA would activate its disaster recovery centers like they did after the derecho, in fact, reactivate some of the ones from the derecho, and people will have the ability to either call or show up to receive direct financial assistance in the form of grants, and for small businesses to receive low interest loans. So I spoke with the vice president yesterday. I've spoken with the president, and they are aware, they're leaning forward, and they know that we're hoping for an expedient review of our application. So let me pause there and share. Am I ready, Angelica, to talk about the volunteers, or should I go to Chief Christensen first? Yeah, go ahead into the volunteers. Okay, so this is where I need everyone really to pay attention, because we need you. So let me describe what we've seen out there for those of you that have not been seeing these images. In one house, we saw a tree that fell through the house and spoke to that person. And you can see, if you guys wouldn't mind making room for the images here. So there's a tree that fell through someone's house directly onto their bed. Okay, this person had just gotten up because grandma, she got hungry. She got up, and 5 minutes later, the tree fell on her bed. Same story with another young man. Some houses completely split in two, and this is not unique. Okay, this is not let's go and find the hardest hit places. We just went to a neighborhood that we knew had been affected, and there was so much of this. Could probably fill the whole screen. We just didn't have time to put it up everywhere. But I want people to know what we're facing. The damage is so widespread. We have over 4,400 people that have had damage to their homes because of Beryl. So we have a network of organizations, and those organizations have activated during Harvey, they've activated in the past, and they know how to work with volunteers. Oh, please join me again, thank you all. They know how to work with volunteers, and you've worked with them. We love these organizations, and right now they need you again. It could take up to 6 people an entire day to remove one large tree. So each of those homes, each of those 4,400, 6 people one day. We need so much more than what we have right now. Right now, all these organizations probably have around 100 volunteers right now. So do the math. We're very far from being able to help these folks. The only way to do this, logistically, the only way is with volunteers. We've always been good at taking care of each other in these disasters, and we need you to step up and do it one more time. We need people to assist with things like tarping roofs, like moving trees, and moving other debris over to the side of the road. So I'm asking Harris County to step up, like you have, like you always do, and to help out your neighbors and to sign up to volunteer with our crisis cleanup team. Here's what crisis cleanup is. They will connect you, and Gary will share more details here in a moment, but they're a tried and true organization who will connect you with an organization that is vetted and has the infrastructure in place to send volunteers out, to send you out to other people's homes with a team of people, a team of folks who are trained, who know the safety, who can fill you in on what you need to do and get your help. So we need folks, both people who have particular skills and just any old person that wants to help. If you do not have any special skills, but you're able-bodied and can help with this kind of work, you can help hauling the material away. There are sawyers that are going to cut down the tree, but someone's going to have to move it to the front of the house. Many people, it's not trees, but it's just debris. Some folks, as I said, because they have a home cut in half like that, they need help mucking and gutting, and so you'll be trained. There are some jobs for which you may need some training, a day, 3 days, and then of course there's jobs where we need skilled people. So anybody who's practiced at cutting down trees, sawyers, that always helps. So here's how you sign up. If you want to volunteer, please visit volunteerhou.org/disaster. So it's volunteer, the word volunteer, HOU.org/disaster. Or call 211. We have increased our call centers with support from our public health department and toll road department. Call centers, we're available multiple languages, so folks can call 211, say that you want to volunteer and help crisis cleanup in the various organizations, and they will do the intake. If you have a group, an organization that would like to register, please register through Crisis Cleanup. That way we can be efficient in how we distribute and connect the need to the support and make sure that everyone's properly trained. So whatever your organization is, if it's a church or a different community of faith, if it's an interest group, whatever it is, you can sign up at crisiscleanup.org/register. crisiscleanup.org/register. If you have a group, 211 if you're an individual, or the Volunteer Houston website. When you do call Crisis Cleanup, there may be a brief wait, okay? Because we're doing the intake for all the people who need help and for all the people who volunteer. So I want you to know we're working on both sides of this. We're going to be increasing the staffing, but part of your volunteerism is going to have to be patient on the line while folks get to you. And so we have 45 additional toll road authority employees training right this second to fill out that call center. So just help us out with that patience as time goes on. We will have more people and a faster turnaround time. So we're going to be right out there alongside you, helping folks recover. All of us on every level, from the state down to the precincts, down to the volunteer organizations, we are working and doing everything we can. We know that we are resilient, and we have to help. There's some trees 100 to 200 feet tall that are completely over homes. There are trees across streets. There are tree limbs on rooms. There are roofs with holes in them, and they need us to help them. So let me repeat briefly in Spanish, and then I'll pass it on to the other speakers here. So we'll hear from Gary Flaherty of the VOAD, and then Chief Christensen on generator safety, which is crucial because, as you all know, we've had a huge increase in hospital visits by people who are leaving their generators inside. First, bueno, primero empezamos con un momento de silencio hace unos minutos para el oficial Fernando Esqueda, una familia latina, he comunicado con ellos ya el día de hoy. Fue una tragedia espantosa. Pueden ver aquí detrás mío los escudos de nuestros policías y líderes en nuestras agencias de policía están cubiertos. Las banderas en el condado de ayer estuvieron a mitad. Este oficial muy joven, 28 años, tanto él como su hermana trabajan para el departamento del alguacil. Él está trabajando tiempo adicional para intentar mantener la seguridad en el condado Harris, dada toda la destrucción. cuando fue atacado y fue asesinado por un criminal. Lastimosamente, una tragedia enorme para su familia, para su hermana. Entonces quiero pedirles, por favor, que recemos por ellos, por esa familia, y pensar en ellos, mandarles cariño, mandarles fuerza. Necesitan todo el apoyo, y es una familia muy, muy dedicada a esta comunidad. En cuanto al huracán, sabemos todos que está haciendo mucho calor, mucha humedad, ya todo el mundo lo está sintiendo. Los hogares más afectados tienen árboles en medio de la casa y se sienten suertudos de no haber muerto en el huracán. Hay muchos hogares con ramas y escombros por todos lados, en los hogares, en las yardas. Todo el mundo sin electricidad está exhausto y ya desesperado. Muchas veces son personas que viven solas, son viudas o viudos, familias con niños pequeños. Necesita la gente agua, hielo, comida y ayuda sacando esos escombros y esos árboles. Entonces nosotros estamos trabajando para tener más agua, más hielo, apoyo del gobierno federal, pero necesitamos la ayuda de usted para poder ayudar con los árboles y con los escombros. No podemos hacerlo sin voluntarios. Entonces, esa va a ser la parte más importante de este reporte mío el día de hoy. En cuanto a la electricidad, a las 6 de la mañana hoy día, 700,000 familias sin electricidad y 900,000 en toda la región, 700,000 en el condado Harris. Buenas noticias que CenterPoint ya está trabajando para tener el 80% de las familias con luz nuevamente el domingo o entrado el lunes. Tuvimos algunas tormentas, está cayendo algo de lluvia. Los trabajadores que están trabajando aquí para restaurar la electricidad no pueden trabajar cuando haya relámpagos. Entonces, si hay relámpagos, tendrán que detenerse un tiempo, pero luego seguirán si trabajan en la lluvia. Puede ir y visitar lo que es el mapa de restauración en readyharris.org. Está un link al mapa de CenterPoint donde ve su calle, su vecindario, y si ya están restaurando la luz o no, o si ya está todo bien. En cualquier caso, si no tiene luz, debe llamar. Entonces, eso, visita readyharris.org. Hay como una presentación ahí encima. Lo primero que ve es como un rectángulo grande y va pasando. Entonces, cada uno de esos rectángulos que uno ve tienen recursos importantes. Uno de ellos está este mapa de restauración. Hemos visto a esos trabajadores afuera día y noche. Y sé que todo el mundo está enojado, frustrado, ya no da más. Pero por favor, sean respetuosos con los trabajadores. Escuchamos un reporte de que alguien sacó un arma para amenazar a los trabajadores. En otro sitio dispararon armas de aire comprimido al equipo de los trabajadores. Entonces, ellos lo que se merecen son agradecimientos, más no violencia ni insultos. También tenemos 61 centros de enfriamiento que ya hemos establecido a través del condado cerca de las comunidades necesitadas. El Departamento de Ingeniería está ya trabajando para recoger escombros. 11 puntos de distribución en el condado Harris con comida, con agua, no mucho hielo, porque bueno, eso todo lo pueden encontrar en readyharris.org. El hielo lo seguimos buscando de H-E-B. Nos han donado 3 camiones grandes de hielo, 15,000 bolsas de hielo que ya estamos distribuyendo. Hemos pedido más hielo al estado desde el lunes y dicen que viene en camino. Estamos igual buscando en otras partes. Ya hemos alcanzado el requisito para ayuda directa del gobierno federal. Entonces, el gobierno federal está revisando esa aplicación y ojalá nos otorguen esas subvenciones para empresas pequeñas y subvenciones para los individuos y opciones de préstamos con bajos intereses para las empresas pequeñas. Entonces, quiero describir lo que vimos ayer en una casa, un árbol que cayó a través del hogar y cayó encima de la cama de alguien. Entonces, pueden ver aquí de qué se trata. Estas imágenes no son únicas, son imágenes que se ven a lo largo de todo el condado. Personas que por poco evitaron la muerte. Que llueve, les cae el agua, les está dañando el hogar, todas partes que han trabajado toda su vida en construir. Árboles de 100, 200 pies, árboles que están en medio de la carretera, de la calle. Esto no se puede recoger con los voluntarios que tenemos hoy día. Hay 100 voluntarios y tarda todo el día 6 hombres el recoger un árbol de estos. Entonces necesitamos más voluntarios y lo necesitamos a usted. Por favor, visite volunteerhue.org. If you guys can join me and then we'll hear from Gary. volunteerhue.org/disaster. O llame al 211 y diga que quiere ser voluntario y ayudar con los escombros y con los árboles. Entonces, llámenos. Esta organización Crisis Cleanup, que ha trabajado en Harvey, en todas las desastres, lo va a conectar con organizaciones que trabajan en esto, ya entrenados, que le pueden enseñar. Aunque usted no tenga experiencia, rápido lo entrenan y va con toda la seguridad para poder trabajar en esto. Si tiene habilidad de cortar árboles, también llámenos, porque obvio nos hará mucha falta. Pero las personas cortan los árboles, ok, ese es un pedazo. El otro pedazo es jalar eso hacia la calle para que lo puedan recoger, y eso es lo que necesitamos que usted haga, o que ayude con las casas inundadas. Entonces, bueno, vamos a trabajar todos por ayudar. Seguimos aquí juntos y quiero que sepan que el pedazo que hacemos nuestro, ¿ok? Lo de las provisiones, los centros de enfriamiento, lo de la asistencia federal. Esto de los árboles no lo podemos hacer sin usted. Entonces pedimos su pedacito en esta ayuda, y otro pedazo del voluntario va a ser que por favor tengan paciencia para en la línea cuando llamen al 211, porque necesitamos que esperen un poco. Hemos activado líderes o centros de teléfono ya para poder aumentar el número de personas tomando llamadas. Hablan español, pero siempre necesitamos un poco de paciencia por parte de usted. Si su iglesia, su grupo, organización, escuela, lo que sea, quiere ayudar en voluntariado, también por favor regístrese vía nosotros para que todos estemos organizados. Entonces, bueno, vamos a escuchar ya del señor Gary, so we'll hear from him with the VOAD, who will really explain to us about volunteering. Please.
Thank you, Judge. So I want to talk to everybody about connections today, and I think that was probably the most important concept that Judge Hidalgo was talking about. Fellow Houstonians, Harris County residents, the Beryl hit. We got out of our house and we took care of ourselves, and we looked to our left and took care of one neighbor. We looked to our right and took care of the other neighbor. We looked across the street, took care of that neighbor. But now what do you do? What can you do? And there's so many other people in Houston that need help. So it's, what do we do to make those connections, those volunteer connections, so we can magnify the effect of our volunteer organizations that are already working here and get as much of this work done as we can. So it starts off first with crisis cleanup. Crisis cleanup is described as a work order management tool. It's where you raise your hand and say that you need help, and the first part of that connection. So if you've been impacted by the storm and you need help, raising your hand on crisis cleanup is the first connection that you make. On the other side, we've got volunteer organizations like Team Rubicon, which is one that I volunteer with. Volunteer organizations like Texans on Mission, the Restoration Team, Katie Response, faith-based organizations. There's a number that are involved, the Minutemen. So how do we make that connection? Well, we make that through crisis cleanup as well. And this is where crisis cleanup may be less of a work order tool and more of a matchmaking tool. On one side, we have people that need help. On the other side, we have people that can offer that help. And so through crisis cleanup, they're able to go in, look for those matches, call up that homeowner and say, we're here to help. What do we need to do? It's all the services are offered completely for free. These are nonprofits that are working. So how do we make that connection? The problem is the storm Beryl was huge, huge amount of damage. So how do we handle that extra volume? And that's where the third connection comes in. How do we connect you back to the volunteer organizations? You want to volunteer with one of these organizations because they have the leadership and expertise to make sure that, number one, you're not going to get hurt, the homeowner is not going to get hurt, and that we do the job as, just absolutely wonderful quality and the best we possibly can, because we don't want to do any more damage to their home. So what you do is you go to Volunteer Houston, and we make that third connection. You connect to Volunteer Houston, and they will offer a number of opportunities for you to serve. So you look for one that matches your capabilities, one that matches geographically where you want to serve, and then you make that connection to that organization. Then you'll call up that organization. They'll be onboarded with that organization. They'll go through whatever training they want you to go through, and you're out there serving. Now, we have all kinds of different jobs, and they require all kinds of different training, right? As a spontaneous volunteer, you can go and help work, tarp or buck and gut a home. As long as one person on site knows what they're doing, everybody else can be a spontaneous volunteer. You can go out and help your neighbors. If you're tarping a roof, we prefer that you have some training to be on the roof, but lots of opportunities for spontaneous volunteers on the ground. If it's chainsaw work or debris management, everybody can do. That's just picking up all the debris. And then on Sawyer work, what we prefer is that you work with an experienced team. Team Rubicon, Texans on Mission. Volunteer to work with them as a volunteer. Let their sawyers do the more technical part and the more dangerous part, quite frankly, of cutting down that tree, getting the tree off the home, and doing it in a way that doesn't damage the home, doesn't hurt anybody else. But what we really need is people to take those debris and get that debris to the right-of-way. So that's the third part of the connections, right? So we're connecting victims through crisis management, or crisis cleanup rather. We connect them there. We connect that to volunteer management, and ultimately we connect you through Volunteer Houston, ultimately back into the volunteer. Now, something I need to point out, there's a statistic here that sometimes may be a little bit uncomfortable. When you call crisis cleanup and give them your information, it may be days, it may be weeks, it may even be months before you get a call. The statistic that I really find disturbing is that usually, in most instances, about 30% of the folks are never called. And quite frankly, that's not good enough. We're from Texas, we're from Harris County, we're from Houston, and that's just unacceptable performance. So we've got to figure out a way to mobilize our citizens to go out there and make sure that when they tell the stories about the 32%, they say, except for Harris County, because they took care of all the needs of their fellow citizens. So I just encourage you to take this opportunity this weekend and the weeks ahead to look up the opportunities on Volunteer Houston, connect with a nonprofit that's already working in these areas, hopefully stay with that nonprofit after the disaster as well, so we're ready for the next one, and go out there and help our Houstonians that are in need. We've got a couple organizations, we've mentioned them, Team Rubicon, Texans on Mission, Katie Responds, the Restoration Team, and we'll be adding many more to the Volunteer Houston site. And with that, we really appreciate you going out there and volunteering and basically showing the nation what Texas and what Houston's all about. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Gary. And just to be clear, so obviously it's an improving system, and so it's again asking for patience, right? So we want folks to sign up, and I think what we're trying to communicate is, yes, you might have to wait on the line a little bit. There's a chance a percentage of you will get lost in the shuffle somewhere, okay? But when you're bringing this many organizations, that's bound to happen, and they're working behind the scenes so hard with the organizations and nonprofits to do this as efficiently as ever. So just please sign up, and again, the more people sign up, the more people are going to be able to be on the ground as soon as possible, hopefully within a matter of this weekend. So we've got the call center set up for that reason. So okay, let me pass it on to Chief Christensen here to talk about generator safety.
Good afternoon, Laurie Christensen, your Harris County Fire Marshal. I want to successfully report that we are seeing a decline in the carbon monoxide calls within the unincorporated county. On our highest peak, we had 152 calls within a 24-hour period. Yesterday, we were down to 61, and so messaging is working. I want to thank the media for getting that messaging out. I want to thank those of you who are reposting our social media information, because We've been telling you, what is carbon monoxide? It's a odorless, colorless gas that can put you to sleep within minutes and take out your whole family. Again, generators should not be inside of a garage. They should not be within 20 feet of your home if you can keep that distance. They shouldn't be on a patio where it's coming up in the eaves of your home. So we want you to be very conscious of that. If you can afford to have a carbon monoxide detector, that would be a phenomenal to have while we're still on generator power. I also want to say that we've reached out to various homeowners associations, the apartment association. They're doing a great job of putting our information out. We actually have flyers that we're putting out in English and Spanish. Not only are our partners passing these out, we have at the pod sites where the ice and water are being given out, we are passing these out, so we encourage you, please share with your neighbors. Again, it's on our social media site. It's free information, and let us know if there's something we can help you with on that. I also want to give a shout out and thank you to the Emergency Service District fire departments that are out there. They're actually going out doing assessments. I know we've been talking about the debris and the trees. They're doing assessments and bringing that information back digitally to Harris County. So it is allowing us to get information out much sooner, and we really appreciate it. They also are going around doing drive-by assessments. If they see something in a garage, if they see maybe a generator too close to the home, they're actually getting out and checking with the neighbors and checking with those homeowners and passing this information out. The key here is this. We're going to be on generator power, some of us, for several more days. Don't get laxed. If you see a generator running at your neighbor's, go over there. Even if it's a neighbor you haven't met, this is a great time to get together. I can tell you, I've met some neighbors that I didn't even know I had personally because we've been on generator. And have them come over and just say, hey, I see this is a little too close to the house, or how long are you running this? Is there anything you need? Our greatest concern is that we get laxed in the comfort of that continuous hum of the generator, and we forget that it needs to be further away. So again, thank you. Thanks for everybody putting out this information, and we look forward to continuing the success of bringing those carbon monoxide calls down. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chief, for that, and Chief Christensen for sending that wireless emergency alert yesterday. You guys got your phones pinged with it, but there's just hundreds and hundreds of people that were being taken to the hospital, and the numbers are down. So thank you for heeding that. We know that generators are being stolen. We understand that, and then you might want to put it in your home. Back to guys, it's a tough time. Let's try to be respectful and responsible, but also it's your life. It can take your life if someone is sleeping. They may not be able to tell. I just got a brief update from Chief Kidd with the state that the trucks are coming our way between 1 p.m. and 9 p.m. today, the trucks that we'd requested from the state with ice. So they've been great on the food and the water. Everyone's having trouble with ice. This is great. And then Judge Sakai over in San Antonio and Bexar County has been helping us too. And so we got the 3 trucks from HEB last night, and it sounds like they're sending 3 trailers on the way additionally. So we're thankful to them and our neighbors, and we'll keep working. So anyway, let me just to sum up, if you need help, call 211. If you want to volunteer, call 211. And you can also find the information on the website, readyharris.org. Any questions? He'll answer questions.
Okay, can you just give us an update on where we are? Because there's a lot of people, and I know it's been huge, and it's a big undertaking, but where are we? And for all those people out there upset, how can you help kind of give them a reassurance that things will get back to normal at some point?
So that was a request from Centerpoint for an update and for reassurance.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you for the question. So as of 10 o'clock this morning, we've restored power to over 1.4 million people. We still have about 873,000 people out. We expect to have 80% of our customers restored by the end of Sunday. And, the remaining customers are going to be the hardest hit customers that have trees down, that it's not a quick fix. And we just ask for their continued patience And we ask that if you do go out and try to cut your tree down that's already fallen down, trim it up, please be careful. Watch out for down power lines. If you see one, call 713-207-2222. Know that the hardest areas that were hit for us were Brazoria County, Galveston County, and sections along the I-45 corridor on the way to the Woodlands. Know that we've got 1,000 more mutual assistance crews coming today to help, so that'll put us at 13,000 folks in the field restoring. We've deployed 11 mobile generator units. We're deploying 6 more today, and Encore and Qantas are loaning us 2. So that'll put us at about 19 mobile generation units at critical facilities. We've got 18 staging sites around the region to help us get to customers and restore power as quickly as possible. But I know it's hot. I'm thankful for the rain to cool things off. You know, everyone here is exhausted, but we'll continue to work around the clock to get everyone restored as quickly as possible.
How does the rain, though, how does it impact your?
It doesn't impact, only if it starts lightning. If that,
Can you repeat the question before you?
oh, how does the rain impact, or how does the rain impact restoration? They can work in the rain, but they cannot work when it's lightning. And when it starts lightning, they take shelter and they make a decision on when they feel it's safe to go back out and get to work.
Okay. Thank you all. Anything else? All right, thank you so much. Please volunteer, and please let us know if you have damages on 211. Thank you.